Oh my fucking god, you guys. I seriously have to talk or I'm gonna explode. Like, maybe I should go no glasses for this one. Ugh, how do I look though? I can't tell because I'm so far away. It's 720p anyway. You're not really seeing my cracks and crevices, but I don't know if I want you to be able to see the reflection. That could be a little distracting. Jesus Christ, we'll do it. This might be for the best. Then I can't just stare at myself. Okay, I have a confession to make. When I said that I can't talk, I can't not talk, I have to talk or I'm going to explode, I was, of course, being hyperbolic. And that is going to be because, I mean, like, my psychological well-being is affected negatively, like, adversely, when I don't talk enough. Like, I have to take up space. Or, like, I start to feel like nothing. And that's when, like, I'm doing this because I just put eye drops in my eyes, because unlike the other episode, we're off the edible today. And actually, we're not off the edible, we're off the one hitter, my preferred method, as my friends and family know and love. They say, Sabrina, I love your marijuana product setup. They say, oh my god, Sabrina, can you do a marijuana product tutorial? What's in my marijuana product bag? Everybody's begging, and you know how I feel about begging. I'm gonna do it, but nobody else can. Or when other people do it, it's embarrassing. But maybe I'm okay embarrassing myself, and maybe that's the point of maturing. That's a little callback to last episode. Shout out to the ones that have followed along, the ones coming in sequential order. Speaking of sequential order, I am recording this episode right after I finished recording the other episode. And by right after, I mean I went to go get Culver's in between, and then I watched Brittany Broski on Caleb Perrin as of January 8th, 2026. And today's January 9th. I'm a day behind. God forbid a girl commits time to her hobbies and interests outside of watching YouTube videos. Like, some noteworthy differences. I took my lip product off. That I know sounded crazy. I took my lip product off. The audio on this one is seriously so good. Like, it kind of blows my mind, because I was using a Blue Yeti, which is like meant for the kind of delivery I think that I am doing, whereas this I thought was more for like singing, or that's what it would be set up for. But it's just really great at capturing all of my voice, which is kind of, I started watching back the last week's episode before I jumped into recording this. I can hear myself breathing so much, so best believe it's top of mind for me now. I'm going to be pulling the mic away like every time after I'm done talking. So anyways, welcome back to Gabbo Sab. This is no cold open this episode. We're going hard intro. Welcome back to Gabbo Sab. I am your host, Sabrina Stangler, and today we are going to be up to our usual antics, where I have some quick discussion points. Actually, we're not up to our usual antics at all today, because I have no quick discussion points. I just lied to you. Also, I'm going to be reviewing some of my, like, we're going to spend the largest segment today reviewing my notes that I took, like my annotations from reading Red Rising on my Kindle. I might change my mind and do ACOTAR instead. Depending on which one I choose, let me know if you would have preferred me do the other one, and I can do that one too. Maybe I'll do them both. We'll see. I don't know how many notes I really have, but I know they're silly. Oh my god, you guys. Fame is a Gun, the Rebecca Black cover came out on Spotify today. So happy New Music Friday. They gave it to us. If anyone was wondering what is in this duffel bag, it just came to me. I saw it in the viewfinder, if you will. It's my MacBook Pro, rich. This is my crochet supplies. So I keep I got this at the Walmart, approximately maybe $12, maybe $8, $5. It was whatever it was. I was like, I'm willing to pay that, because I was looking for something to be my bag I can take on the go if I'm going like when I go up north in the summer for a weekend. I bring that with me, because then I put all of my supplies in the front pocket, like my hooks and such, and then I just put yarn in the big pocket, and then I have a pocket for in progress stuff on the side that's like a little netted pocket like that, so that's really cool. So that's my crochet setup. You're about to see my reading setup later this episode. I am going to save this for the end of the episode, so if you are like a usual Gab with Sav viewer and you're like not sure you're interested in the annotation reading, that is so fine. I put it at the end of the episode. And if you're only here for that, skip there now. I will have chapters in the YouTube video, and then I'll have timestamps listed in both the description in YouTube, but also in the Spotify description. And I'm not on Apple Music yet. I forgot that was a platform. And so, because Android girl, I mean, what can I say? It's just, I think that maybe I need to keep the mic a little further away, because I think I'm projecting quite loudly. Like, I think that I'm talking plenty loud. Okay, you know how you can tell I recorded this right after recording the other episode is that I still have the book Nurture Shock on my side table. And you know what? Shit, maybe I'll read that tonight. I'm having quite the ambitious evening. Okay, guys, getting straight into it 10 minutes into the episode, if I had to guess. While I was watching Brittany on Caleb Heron's So True, I heard Caleb talk about like working in the service industry when he was younger and still feeling like a kinship with service workers, like he is one of them, but he knows that like he's not, and while he misses it, he doesn't miss it enough to like do it. And it's obviously like he's in a more favorable financial position where he's at now. And I was like, damn, I really used to feel like that, especially when I was a salaried software engineer, because I felt like I was rolling in it. And I still was like, oh, you know, I yearn for some of the things that I had, like the kind of community that I had in working a service job, and like just the interactions that I was having were constant instead of like few and far between, because like, especially as someone who started during the pandemic, like I mean, I had my internship in person, but then all of my jobs ever since have been remote. And so my like number of social interactions, especially like leaving college, have drastically decreased. Because at least in college, I had like a couple, like, so I graduated in 2020, and so I had my last like trimester effectively in COVID. And so I had some synchronous classes, and I was like video calling with all of my other friends in college because we were all in the same circumstance. So I definitely like yearned for having more of those like micro interactions. And whereas Caleb is like, I don't miss it enough to do it, I was like, yeah, I miss it enough to do it. And then I did it. And so that both makes me feel like I have like the free ticket in that scenario to like feel kinship with other service workers, because I like actively am a barista and I like work in a cafe. And I also think it makes me like doubly annoying for being like, yeah, I'm a service worker who works part-time because I like for the most part choose to, and like I'm not doing it to pay my bills with necessarily. Like this time I kind of am, but the first time I was not. I was just like, oh, any money I get from here is like cool, very nice. And so I feel doubly annoying because it's like I work 1 day a week. For context, I work 1 day a week. When I was working at Interval, my first stint as a barista, I was working like 2 to 3 days a week, and then I had to be like, yo, we need to reel it back. I cannot be here 3 days a week. Like my other work is suffering. And but we just like did not have that many people on staff to like cover all of the shifts. And so anyway, yeah, that's my quick discussion point. Just think on that. My next discussion point, and I know it even though I can't read it, is, and this is getting into our more long-form discussion, and the rest of these discussion points actually before we get into the book annotations is going to be software based. And so I want to have a little mini impromptu episode here, or a discussion point, like a mini impromptu discussion point here. I am unsure of how to structure these episodes, and if some of these episodes actually make sense broken into smaller episodes or just like YouTube videos that fall more in the like commentary or video essay, but like an unfounded, unstudied video essay. So more like commentary. And I guess this whole podcast is kind of commentary. I'm just like branding it a little differently and like putting some stuff together. And so I don't know if this format of putting stuff together is going to stick more than something like breaking up all of my topics would, but it would just be more work for me, and it's easier for me to like sit and talk about this stuff all at once, but then I also get to have continuity through the topics, and I think that that's a value add. And this is all to say that I feel like I'm thinking about it too hard. I also listened back to the last episode of me being like, ah, and I was like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, like that's so loud. So I'm learning how to use this microphone. I think last episode you'll experience that quality boost, but I'm hoping that this one you'll experience that quality boost, but like at the expense of hearing a little bit too much of my voice. And this one I'm hoping that like you hear an appropriate amount of my voice more often. Okay, anyway, holy shit. So moving into the software segment of this video, and I don't know, software girls, if you're like, dude, pull this shit out of the podcast, I like am interested in this, but not the rest of the podcast, let me know in the comments. But also fuck you. Kind of also fuck you, just listen to the damn episode. It's like, the customer is always right. And also like, okay, so you have to work a little harder for the content. Okay, God forbid I add some context to the day at large before getting into the meat of it all. I feel like this kind of format is like a little more human, and maybe that is a stretch to claim, but it's, and I edit this, which is why it might be a stretch to claim. It's not like this is one continuous take. Like, I take intentional time to not speak. And I mean, I am for the most part speaking kind of back to back to back, but I like remove gaps, and sometimes those gaps are long. Like sometimes I lose my train of thought. Sometimes I need to breathe and don't want the microphone to pick it up. So dare I say this is a little more human to do it in this format, for you to like see my perspective on this in a little bit more earnesty. So this first bullet point, although I can't see it, I can read it. That's where we were. I want to talk about making software versus making things with software. And I think the distinction is that making stuff with software is like using software as a tool that solves problems, instead of being like the cool software is the product. Because it's, unless you're selling to other software companies, it very much is not. Which is not to say that there are not plenty of software companies making software for other software companies. And there's things like SAP that like they build an infrastructure, and the implementation of that infrastructure is its own discipline now. Like there are people who do SAP and they know how, and that's like industrial engineers and people who work in like warehouses and supply chain. And so I have to burp into the microphone every time because I need to hear how my burps sound in the playback. I have to hear it. So anyway, making stuff with software is like saying, you know, hey, that this language can do this really cool thing, and we need to ship this by May. So like, and we need people to be able to like maintain this software who might not be us. And it is like developing software in real life, dare I say. And so not like a manufactured playground. Do you know what I mean? And they're not to say that doing stuff in a manufactured playground is bad. Like building your own playground is cool. It's tight. And it enables a lot of really good stuff. But that's like not my gig. It's just like not something I'm interested in building, because I feel more motivated to like solve problems with what I'm using and not like manufacturing problems to be solved. Maybe I am saying that with some hate in my heart. I don't know. I say this because I have spent a lot of time feeling like I was a bad software engineer because I didn't give a fuck about the software. I just was like, this is a skill I'm learning. It took a long time for me to come around to that perspective on it and like feel a sense of like comfort in it. I felt out of place for a long time, and I felt like it was because I didn't get it, because I was stupid, and so I wasn't like other engineers because I wasn't as good. And so, but I was just like getting by with it. And I wasn't just like getting by all the time. I kind of was. Like, I wasn't going above and beyond exactly, because unless it was fun, like when we finally did like front end stuff then I was finally like, this is fun, this is cool. And doing like making the visuals is cool, and like doing the logic to support like what one little value shows up as, or what like one box shows up as, is cool and interesting to me, and I like it. I like front end engineering. And so I feel like a lot of my degree was like very focused on just making software to make software, but there were plenty of parts that were about making software to solve problems. And that was, I think, what like a nice balance in my degree program was. Like that's why I feel like my education at MSUE was good. Like I feel like they did a good job. And I feel that even though I felt like an imposter for my like entire time there, that now I feel quite competent. Like I feel that it set me up for success quite well. Because now I'm like, I'm like 5 years out of my program, and bear with me here. I'm not going to say that I've like mastered anything, but like I feel quite senior. Like I feel like I'm able to use it as a tool to solve problems very effectively. And so I'm pumping my tires a little bit. I'm glazing myself, as they say. But I just wanted to talk about that distinction and say that if you feel like you're making software for software's sake, I think you should be critical of your purpose, because I think it is easy for it to become quite nebulous, and it's good to stay locked in on like what your values are. And I don't know why I'm trying to make this like a mentorship like advice thing. I just was thinking about this like, and as I talked this out loud to you, it like dawned on me that doing one or the other isn't necessarily better. I mean, maybe it is. I think that what I do is more useful in general, but like I said, like building these cool things for cool sake is, I don't know, yields maybe as much innovation as making stuff with software does, like, or solves as many problems in a different way. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm placating. Speaking of placating, I don't know how this ties in yet, but I want to talk about using AI, because I have started using AI to code, and it makes me feel, how you say, icky. It feels icky, and it feels icky because I like it, because it's really helpful. And as a like more senior dev, like I know what I want it to do, and it feels like I can execute at the pace that my like brain moves, and I don't need to dot all my T's and cross my I's, because it will just do that for me. And it's just like, it's nice. Like the boilerplate that it saves me in an ongoing way, like not even just in the setup, but in like I have our website for Go Fish Talent. I've been working on that this week, and I had it make me like a layout of an electronic press kit, or an EPK. And so it looks kind of like a LinkedIn page, in that it's got like a major column on the left and then like a minor, thinner column on the right. And there's sections with different tidbits about the artist. And so I have a file with all the constants in it, which is like all of the text data, and that is like their name, and is like a color that goes with it, and like their description and their accolades, and their like, it's all the information that fills up the boxes. And then I have the file that determines the layout. And then when I use AI to like add a new section, it adds the stuff for each artist in each of their like, because I have like an object for Fairy Astronaut, I have an object for Adrian X Ash, and then an object for Modern Haunting. And they each have the same like characteristics, like they all have the same fields that I'm filling out for all of them, like it's like a template. And so the AI will add to each of them the section with the right information, like flubbed out being like, that not an official programming term, like lorem ipsum'd in, like filled in with boof data, and then add the part where it visualizes it. And it just like does that in one fell swoop, which is just like very, very quick. Like I don't get slowed down by the copying and pasting of it all, and making sure that I do that accurately, and making sure that I do things in the right order such that it is easier for me, like when I copy paste versus when I fill in the information. I could think too hard about building software. Actually, I do it all the time. I do it constantly. Like anytime I'm trying to build software, I'm thinking too hard about it. And I feel like using AI has helped me like not get lost in it, to like not get lost in the sauce. Like it just, like I was saying, it keeps my pace up. And so, and not in like a I have to be more productive way, but in like I don't, if I'm jogging, I don't get slowed down and change direction and then lose my way back. Like it's easier to like stay on the straight and narrow. And then it's also easier to like straight and narrow in terms of following my train of thought. And so anyway, does anyone fucking care? Like to pull a card out of Brittany Broski's book. Does anyone fucking care? I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I have to yap. I have to speak and be heard. And I don't know what that says about me, okay? I don't know. But I'm going to talk it out. I don't know why I'm sitting here trying to like justify making this podcast. Like obviously I made it because I think people want to listen to it. So I can just shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Okay, my next bullet point is, no, I was talking about using AI to code. And so I want to say that my perspective on AI ultimately is like, it is another new like an innovation in the space, and its adoption has made it better, and it is resource intensive like many other things. And so I don't think that we should be using it willy-nilly and slamming it into everything. Holy shit. But like, let the girls who code use it. Like, and maybe use it, like, let students and whatever. I don't know. And I don't know about my perspective on letting students use it, because it's like, it's a tool to access the internet, but I think it, like, but people said the same thing about, like, Wikipedia, where they were like, well, you can't trust anything on Wikipedia because anyone can change it. And anyone can change what ChatGPT does if you like put enough information on the internet. And then I would be more concerned that someone was able to change it because they have the kind of influence or like money or power to affect such change. What the fuck am I talking about? So I feel like AI, and I also feel like AI's here, like I want to believe that we can dissuade people from using it, but I do not think, I just like don't see, I don't want to be a pessimist about it, but I just don't see it happening. Like, and so you could say that I'm coping because I just want to like be comfortable with the fact that I use it to code, and I don't want to feel bad about it. And that's true. Like that's real. I would love to justify my behavior. In fact, that's my favorite activity, is justifying my own behavior. But I'm going to keep using it to code. Like, as far as I understand it, and as far as I understand, like, and I'm not trying to be like, yes, let's put AI in everything, but it's here and I'm going to use it. And I do feel that in software, this is going to be kind of like this is my prediction, right? That like, it'll be kind of a like, use it or boot it. Like, there already is some of that wind. And I'm not saying that this should be, but I think that it is just going to be the fact that people are going to seek out people who use AI because they like know that they'll be faster. And I think it's fair to assume that people who use AI are going to be faster, assuming they like came in with a good foundation. I don't know what this like is going to yield with people who used AI to learn from the jump. Truly, I just don't have that experience, and I just like I can't imagine what that's like. I know that like struggling through is part of learning, but also, does learning have to be hard necessarily? I don't think so. I think learning can be easier. The easier learning is, like, maybe the better it is. And I don't know. Again, I don't have a degree in education, yet if I had a master's degree in software engineering, they would let me fucking teach. They'd be like, yeah, sure, you know how to teach. I mean, I think I do, but like, no formal educational training, like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me about college, because I'm like, about being a professor, because I'm like, okay, so I have to get a master's degree, but it's not even going to be in teaching. What the fuck? And so I'm doing everything I can to try to sway MSOE to hire me without getting a master's degree. Like, I'm about to have I feel like a close connection to the president of the university, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to swing it. I don't know if I have the gall to like ask him to do that, but I like the circumstance has come for him to like offer that, and he hasn't. And I don't think that I like would ever expect him to necessarily, because like he doesn't know like how good I am at software. He knows that I would be like a good teacher, but he doesn't know if I'm like actually skilled or competent in the field. And it's just kind of like not his business to be like hiring faculty. I think that he would be like, it's up to the department. Like, I have no sway over that. That's not in my, like, it would be an abuse of power if I did that. And again, so fair. So fair. And so that is all to say, I guess I don't really feel comfortable like pulling a nepotism card. And that being said, like if he pulled the nepotism card, I would consider it, but I am not in the position of power there. It's not me like electing to take on the risk. And so whatever. What's my next point? Okay, let me make one thing clear though about AI. I need the like startup and venture capital space to like stop slamming it into everything. It's like genuinely so annoying. It's just because it's making it like AI is this inflated like sense of grandeur that it's gonna like solve all our problems and fix everything, and like it's really useful, and it was something that people were using. Like it's widespread adoption, and the quality of it, or like the universal adaptation of it, is what is new. But AI has like been happening. And what the fuck was I saying? Oh, and so I need venture capital to like fucking stop. Like I know that venture capital is like a big fucking game. It's just a bunch of like dick swinging, and like unfortunately like metaphorical dick swinging. It's actually because they have so much goddamn money that they're just hoarding. And oh god, venture capital grinds my gear. VC, or you VC? Oh yeah, the VCs are saying, I don't fucking care. They're not in touch with reality. I'm feeling spicy. Something I learned about recently that is like a space that could use some innovation, or maybe even some playground building, is I was talking to a family friend who is a researcher. I'm a friend of the family. Let me make that clear. They're a family member to, I'm a family friend. And I'm a friend to families. I'm a friend to families everywhere. A family friend studied like audio processing and like has a doctorate in it. And she was talking about having to like learn MATLAB and like learn to program. And she's like, we barely learned in school, and like we basically have to figure it all out on our own. And it's like really fucking hard. And I was like, that sucks. Like that sucks. I'm like, it was hard enough to learn in an explicit like degree program for it. Like I spent 4 years learning this, mama, and it's tough. It's tough. And so I'm like wondering and ideating in that space. And that's just that. The last thing I'll leave you with, our little tech segment of the episode, is I have like a UX / like developer experience, like a user experience / developer experience / like DevOps stuff, whatever. It's this idea that, so when in Google Calendar, you can hover over the bottom edge of a calendar event and click to drag the end time. You can only do this with the end time. You can't do this with the start time. But so you can click and drag it. And if you drag it back to where it originally was, should it send an update call to the API? Arguments in favor. Let's say arguments against first. Google, huge, massive company. To reduce the number of times that you hit their APIs in like even a very small sense would actually have like a very measurable impact on like the load. And I'm hypothesizing that a little bit. I am not a DevOps girl. And so, but this came to mind. It was just like, okay, why send an unnecessary API call? We're talking about a like non-zero, like a statistically significant amount of people, I think, of like it must be significant because Google is so massive and has so many users. And so I would say don't do it. And like, what if that is the person's experience, is that they're like, okay, I hope I dragged it back to where it was. I don't want anything to change. Because there's not like an undo on Google Calendar, I don't think. Arguments in favor. It most accurately reflects to the user like what they want it to be. So this taking the perspective that like wherever they've dragged it is they're like, whatever this looks right. This is how I want it to be at the end of all this. And so it reflects like that desire. And you can argue like a just in case in both ways. I feel like just in case you messed it up, it should not touch anything, or like just in case it is different, you want it to send the update. And so whatever, just in case. But another argument in favor, that's actually the extent of my notes. So that's what I think about it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I am gonna be right back and we'll dive into the annotations I have on the Red Rising series. Okay, team, what's up? We've turned the lights on. Thank God. So I'm logging in Samsung tablet. Holy shit, I gotta change the screen. That would about have done pissed me off. Jesus Christ. So I sent myself my annotations from Red Rising and ACOTAR. And well, we're just gonna open those suckers right up. It went ahead and did not refresh my inbox. Got stuff from 2024. All right, get with the times. It's 2026 now. Well, surely it will load any moment now. I don't need to narrate you through this. I'll be back. So I have to go down and individually download all of the PDFs. My first note is, oh my God, no, I got to tell you what Red Rising is. Okay, for just in case, I'm just going to make it brief. Skip ahead 30 seconds if you already know this book. Red Rising is a tale of like a class hierarchy that is rebelled, and the ruling class and the main character gets like transformed in from the lowest class to the highest class physically and is like incognito, and so he then eventually has to grapple with like, you know, leading the rebellion but no longer being, you know, where he came for, like a person from whence he came, but still also being that person. And so then being like the face of the rebellion, and then blah, 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 and all of the politics that ensue. And they have colonized all of like the habitable planets. The habitable planets, I say, as though Red Rising is actually a historical fact. It's actually not a historical fiction or a future fiction. It's and it's not historical either. It's forward looking. What am I saying? So my first note, so they are drilling. They're drilling in mines. You know what? I think a lot of my notes from the first book are literally just like, this shit doesn't make sense. Yeah, a lot of it is me being like, the writing, what? Is like, who? Like, what are we talking about? Like them bringing someone up and I'm just supposed to kind of like keep nodding my head like, yes, hopefully they'll tell me soon. I felt like when I learned that they would let you pull the legs of your loved one when they're hanging from the gallows, when they're being hung, bro, they let you pull because there's not enough gravity on this fucking planet to yank their legs down. Oh my God, why did I just do that? To make sure that they actually like die and don't suffer a prolonged death. And so it's like actually quite merciful, and it's crazy. Oh my God, I gotta make sure that this thing doesn't lock like immediately. All right, guys, I fixed it. I'm a genius. I knew to search for screen timeout. Okay, I'm digitally literate. Oh my God, I'm still like quite early in the book with where my notes are. And I said, this feels like Earth and the Reds are child slave laborers. They are. And here's the thing, that's actually integral to the plot. And I was like, so once they said it explicitly, I was like, oh, okay. Okay, another read that I had way too early in the series was that I said, Mustang is a pick-me? Okay, awesome. Did a man write this? And Mustang would go on to be like a very deservedly complex character. And I guess maybe this is to say that Darrow like underestimated her at first as well, assuming this was from her perspective. Or from his perspective. Okay, that's the end of my notes for the first book. I did not say much. Moving on to book number 2 of Red Rising, Golden Sun. I had a note about Roke and Darrow early on that was like where Roke was the gold who ended up like getting blamed for Ganymede docks being destroyed. And it's a note about their friendship, about it being like kind of up and down. And I'm like, the writing was on the wall. Like the writing was had been on the wall that eventually Roke was going to be like, this guy's not my friend, actually. Pierce Brown writes this one line that says, I grit my teeth till I feel enamel crumble off as I put all my strength into moving my right arm. I said, wow, ew, what a thing to say. Kind of gross, kind of sick and twisted. Sorry that you had to hear it too. Okay, moving on to book 3, Morning Star. This time we had 26 notes, okay? Compared to like 12 from the previous books. There was a description of Severo doing like a flip in the air and like suction cupping to glass and then like burning the glass out and removing it so that he could sneak in. And I said, cool as fuck, puss in boots, zero grav, head ass. It was not until book 3 that I said that I made the explicit note that the sling blade that Darrow uses is communist coded. I said commie coded in here, but I think it is communist coded. That feels quite clear. Like that symbolism feels like quite obvious and for like it almost feels like I think the reason I doubted it is because I was like, it's just like too explicit, right? Like a sling blade that's in the shape of a curve. Where have I seen that? The only other place that I've seen that is like known globally. Come on. I said, are they really commie coded or just rebels? I noticed that they had a town. Where is it? No, they had a name. Somebody named Valeris. Is that Ragnar's last name? Ragnar Valeris? But then there's also Valeris, the city in ACOTAR. Oh my god, the Red Rising ACOTAR crossover. And so I said, I wonder what that means. I wonder if I can... Hey Siri, what does Valeris mean?
The name Valeris is derived from the Latin verb volare, meaning to fly.
Okay, thanks, girl. So Valeris is meaning to fly, so that makes sense with Ragnar flying through the sky, maybe learning to fly a ship. I don't know, he like flew out of his duty and his place in society. But then of course with Rhysand it means that and Valeris and the Night Kingdom, whatever. Then what the fuck is it called? The Night Realm? The night, because then there's the spring and the summer. And there's the day and the night. The court. Oh my god, duh. A fucking court of thorns and roses. Ah! Okay, back to you and I keep looking for light in the darkness, expecting it to appear, but it already has. We're it, boyo. Broken and cracked and stupid as we are, we're the light and we're spreading. And I said, fire is catching from the Hunger Games. There were sometimes that there were these like platitudes and these, I don't know if I'm using the word platitudes right or correctly, but he would have these like long stretches of many paragraphs of just like the character thinking and like musing and self-actualizing. And sometimes I just didn't get it, girl. I just really was like, what you're saying, like in like sentence to sentence, like makes sense, but I'm not able to like craft an overarching like narrative that you're trying to sell. Like I need you to spell it out for me like a little bit more concisely, because I'm starting to lose it. And there's something I like about it, but it challenged me, I guess, as a reader. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, so I'm not really sure. Like I can't even quite react to it because I'm just like, I don't know. I need some water. Okay, I said Darrow embodied like an attitude of total self-acceptance when he was like, I love children, but I feel so alien to them these days. Where he's like, I'm just not like everybody else, I guess. There were a few times in these books where there was like, the description of the character was like quite lengthy and it was all at once. And I was like, I can't possibly like ingest all of these characteristics. Like, I'll give you an example. Romulus Saw Ra leans against the doorframe of his home. He is a serene and violent man. My height, yet thinner, with a twice-broken nose. His right eye a third larger than mine, set in a narrow, wrathful face. His left eyelid is crossed with a scar. A smooth globe of blue and black marble stares out at me in place of an eyeball. His full lips are pinched, the top lip bearing 3 more scars. His dark gold hair is long and held in a ponytail. Except for the old wounds, his skin is perfect porcelain. But it's how he seems more than how he looks that makes the man. I feel his steady way. his easy confidence as if he's always been at the door, always known me. It's startling how much I like him from the moment he winks at his daughter, and also how much I want him to like me despite the tyrant I know him to be. So that whole description, like when I get all the way through it, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And so my comment was just like OMG description, but the few that like were in the beginning, I think is what I was trying to get at with the like characteristics that are like, he's my height yet thinner with a twice broken nose, and his right eye is a third larger than mine. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. And then 3 more scars. And I had trouble imagining these people as all blonde. Like, I just imagined the Romulus clan as like dark-haired people with like tan skin. And there were a lot of times when like the descriptions of their skin color and their hair color, I just like did not grasp, and I just like made my image of them, and it was really, there was no disrupting that. It was kind of how it was. I think I was starting to like lose faith in Darrow, and so there was a description of like some of his hardships, and I was like, oh yeah, he has had like kind of unique experiences, like unique in that they have been like unusually difficult, you know. Okay, here I was, you could tell I was fed up with Darrow. This was from Darrow's perspective. He said, Roke might not know what the 30-meter projectiles coming from my ship are, but he's willing to kill his own men to stop their approach. And I was like, okay, you too, buddy. Like, unreliable narrator much? Self-report? What if Roke was right about him letting people die for his cause but having the facade of holiness? And this was because I felt like he was criticizing Roke to say, like, he is willing to kill his own men to stop their approach, and not to, like, express how dire it was, but to say that he was, like, willing to kill his own men to stop their approach. And I'm like, girl, you too? Like, you really are the pot calling the kettle murderous. There was also a moment in this book, in the 3rd book, where I clocked that Darrow was, like, willing to kill his own. Well, not kill his own, but to kill all other colors, not just golds. Because he, like, just in some of the description of the battle, he's like, it was kind of like whoever was there, like, I had to gun down, and it was people of all colors. Not red, though. And I was like, oh, so that's where you draw the line now. Okay, so the line's moving. And I feel now that there's going to be a trend here of me being, like, super critical of Darrow, but then, like, coming around to him in the later books and being like, for one, like, this is a character, right? Like, this is a fictional book and character. And so, like, it's not that serious, but also, like, it is that serious, and he deserves, like, some grace for the, like, insanity of an experience that he had. Like, the things that were happening were insane. Like, him being trapped in a box for 9 months, bro. Trapped in a box for 9 months. Not even eating. Having, like, tubes going in and feeding your stomach, bro. That is crazy. Having your entire body sculpted into another body where you now identify in the literal top elite class of society. Oh, and you're also 17. Right. It's crazy. I'm just saying it's crazy. And I think that these books are crazy. These books, like, really push it to the extreme of, like, what... Like, it does it on such a big scale. Do you know what I mean? It's got so many layers of storytelling and, like, moral demonstrations where it's not necessarily, like, taking an opinion, but it's just, like, this is kind of what's happening, and this is what each of those individuals, like, thinks about it from their perspective and how they're coping with it. And so because it's, like, written for first person like that, it doesn't take a position, I feel like, as the author, or like maybe it just is not the nature of that, but it's because he's not taking a position. Oh my god, Victra made a bye Felicia, like, as she literally was about to kill somebody. She said, bye Felicia. I finished her off with a neat decapitation. Bye Felicia, Victor spits, turning to the last Praetorian. Whatever, I just said shut the fuck up. That's so dumb. I cannot believe that was in there. Okay, even I have a part highlighted of Roke's death. And it's Darrow trying to justify destroying the Ganymede dockyards and blaming it on Roke. And he's like, you know, Romulus is an ally today, but I know he'll threaten the core if the Rising succeeds. And if I must give Roke for this victory, if I must give the suns on these moons, I will take something in return. I look down, red boot prints follow my path. I didn't even realize I'd stepped in Roke's blood. I said, last sentence goes crazy, didn't even realize. But he said, I will take something in return. And I wonder what that went on to say. And then they go on to be like, they're going to torture the suns that are on Ganymede, and now that's sitting on his conscience as well. Quote from Darrow, still of my friends, only I loved Roke as much as he deserved in the end. And I said, okay, Diva, whatever you say, but he also was trying to uphold the status quo of like gold elitism. And so, like, I don't know, he was kind of like an enemy of the people. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, like, Darrow was always going to deceive him because they didn't want the same thing. And so it feels bad to like tease and taunt this friendship with them. But I'm also like, that was the enemy this entire time. And so just because like you had common ground doesn't mean you didn't have to like do business, which again is a lot to put on somebody. Okay, it's a lot. A child, no less, or like essentially a child. Another thing that was crazy was when Darrow saved Sever's life. I don't remember why he was almost dying, but he like cuts across him and then is like, you know, like his flesh cut, and it looked so real, but it was actually like a fake vest. And I was like, yeah, you know, that's crazy that his armor just suddenly didn't protect him. And then they wanted to explain, and the rest of this highlight though is like him having to stab Severo with a syringe of like cocktail. It says a wicked cocktail of Hemanthus extract, and Severo comes to life. Essentially, it's his eyes burst open. Fuck. I feel like Severo is definitely stoner coded. He's very like libertarian vibes, where he's like, mind your fucking business. Like, he's like, I'm gonna operate and I'm gonna do me, and you're gonna do you. Don't care. Don't bother me. On to book. Was that book 4? Oh my god, that was still book 3. I had so many notes on that one. I've got just as many notes on this one. I've got 30. Oh my gosh. Okay, so book 4 was where we got the last arc, like a totally different arc. There's a time skip, I think. That makes so much sense. And so I had a comment about Severo and Darrow's like different parenting tactics, and Darrow described Severo as such. He said, this constant pull of duty and family. We bear it together, but he bears it naturally. I feel I am not the father my son needs. I should not leave before telling him I love him, but still I'm afraid to face him. The memory of him in the dueling grotto staring up at me lingers. And I was just like, this dynamic is so interesting because it just like adds such a depth to their friendship that is like so, I don't know, so uniquely like complementary, it feels like, where you would I think suppose that Darrow would be the natural parent, but it's the opposite. But it's in some way it also makes sense. Like, it makes sense as well. I thought that was really, really cool for them to do for Mr. Brown. There was a classic line of people saying like, I note the tension between them, filing it away for later. I make note of the way she has braided her hair into 4 strands, not 3, and I file it away for later. I said, what the fuck? How did a drone become a pendant? Because they had this tool that was a drone the size of like a necklace pendant. And I was like, be serious. But that is something that I can say Pierce Brown has done consistently in the series, is that he has pushed things like beyond the brink of reason. I'm saying because he made a small, like, tiny little drone. Maybe it's not that unreasonable. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm not on the forefront of technology like that. But okay, but making a drone could be going on a necklace feels like, dude. And that has like enough battery that it can like actually make significant movement, like that would require a really steep, I think, level of innovation necessary in like powering things. I was gonna say in just like batteries, but like maybe we need like a whole nother way to power it in general. Like maybe we need to make solar panels like way better. Hey guys, have you ever just thought about capturing more sun? Like it seems like we're not capturing enough of it. So if you could just like in each spot like make more be absorbed, like it's there. Like there's definitely no shortage of it. So like why aren't we collecting more? Why are they only so sensitive? Make them more sensitive. Me, a PhD professor, a PhD like with people who study for their PhD under me, and I'm like, make solar panels get more good. That's it. That's it. That's your challenge, and that's what your research should be against. And I'm a visionary. And see, what I am is a visionary. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Pierce Brown uses a lot of like really specifically like Roman and Latin language. And the one that really did it for me was buttressing. And that's going to be in this context. They perch rank upon rank along the Boussalis crest, some of them encompassing whole peaks, leg straddling frosted valleys, their wide wings buttressing their great heights as they crane their stone necks up, as if to drink the gases of marbled Jupiter. Okay. Their wide wings buttressing their great heights as they crane their stone necks up, as if to drink the gases of marbled Jupiter. Also, what a ridiculously long sentence. How are you supposed to follow it? This whole paragraph must have had me feeling some type of way, because I was like, be serious. Now, why can a book like describe someone as sexy and I'm sitting here like, yeah, this character is sexy? Like, I feel like I'm really maybe mirroring or reflecting what Brittany Broski said when she was talking about this series, but I have like such a crush on Cassius. Like, the person who I've like cast him, or like the image that I've cast him as, is like really sexy. And so I'm like, yeah, you better believe if I were in this universe that I would be under his spell, bro. Like, he'd have me. And see, that's the thing not enough bisexuals are talking about. Not enough bisexual women are talking about men being sexy, because it's possible, guys. It's possible. Like, I'm just saying, have your man read this. And there you go. And there you go. Okay, so also Harley has joined, so if you were not looking at the screen, now's the time. Now's the time to look. Who knows how long she'll stay, but she seems quite into it. I think she loves a Roman tale. Isn't that right? All right, young diva. Yes, I love you so much. I have some other notes. I don't really feel interested in talking about them, but my last note here is that the fact that Severo has a mohawk takes me out every time. And for some reason I said that was a double entendre. Don't know what I was talking about. I have no clue. And there we go. All I have to do is give her a smooch on the mouth and she's out of here. Do you kiss your pets on the mouth? Sound off in the comments. Oh my god, that was not my last note. But I highlighted a long ass passage of, I think, Darrow and Apollonius talking. And it literally fills up an entire page on this PDF. And my comment was, holy shit! Oh my god. I also started to be Darrow's biggest op again. I reclaimed my position because of him like blaming Severo for the reason that he was like doubting his plan. And I was like, pointing blame, are we? Okay, here's an example of me thinking way too hard about something. Basically, Darrow's niece, Rona, like does something good. And he's like, good shot, Rona. I could kiss her. And I was like, am I like taking this too seriously, or is like kissing your adult niece not normal? But maybe it's normal for Reds. And I said it's that, or it's something to like demonstrate Darrow's psyche and character, that he's like thinking of kissing family members in a weird way. But saying that out loud, I'm like, I don't kiss my family members, be like, especially on the mouth. Like, I give my mom like side smooches. And I don't know when that changed, but I think it might have been after like college. No. I'm sorry. After high school is what I mean, before college. But maybe I feel like it must have been sooner. I don't know. It must have been early high school. But so it's like not abnormal for other cultures to kiss on the mouth. And so I'm just like maybe this is not weird and I'm reading into it. Oh my God. I noted one of the like extraordinarily close calls that Darrow has had to dying, where he is like saved at the last minute. Like that shit happened all the time. And so this one is where he describes like beginning to be trigger warning for disgusting, where he describes beginning to be scalped, and I'm like, that is crazy. That is crazy. We like, girl, you were so close to dying. You were so close. Like for all intents and purposes, you believed that you were dying. Like you were like, and this is how it goes. And they were talking about like raping him before they killed him. Holy shit. Again, like taking this shit to a level unheard of. Like, whoa, did we need that to be part of it? Like, is this just to like demonstrate and like reflect humanity back to us in a way that is like, people are fucked up, dude. People are fucked up. And they're fucked up, and some of it's their fault, but not all of it. But some of it's definitely their fault. And I mean that like somebody who's fucked up like that, who's gonna like I said, do something, like I said this I think in the previous episode, like that they're gonna do something for power. And I like understand that like for some people that is like what they feel they need to do to survive. And I don't care in the same breath. Like that's your fucking responsibility. Like I have these thoughts as well, and I don't fucking do that. I don't come to that conclusion. I don't sit there and say, yeah, that's okay. It's worth it for me to like, for other people to be harmed instead of me. That's what everyone else is doing. And so anyway, I'm interested to see if that makes sense running it back, because I feel like I lost the plot there. Oh my gosh, there was a quote of I think it was one of the Romulus clans, the Ra clans, family members calling Dottie, what the fuck was her name? Dowie? But either way, calling Romulus's wife a Venetian strumpet, like from Venus, and a strumpet. And strumpet means prostitute. And I was like, fuck you, girl. Like, I think she may have been saying this about her mother. And, or like, maybe this was Romulus's sibling. And so her trying to like call her a prostitute as a dig, I'm like, girl, fuck you. I don't know. This feels like a very flat kind of feminism, like where I'm just like, I don't know who said this. I don't know who the author of this quote is, but for some reason I'm assuming the worst when I meant this. Because I said, fuck you, girl. Like, I did not say that in jest. I meant it. This one, I liked the vocab. He said the following. Here, he says, we stop and I hear his finger on the wall. The stone grumbles in complaint, and then light seeps in through the expanding aperture, revealing a storage room on the other side of the wall. The stone grumbles in complaint. I don't know, for some reason I was like, I love that. And then like light seeps in through the expanding aperture. I was just like, I can imagine it. Like I'm visualizing that shit. Oh my God, we've got 2 more books. Buckle the fuck up, lock in. 48 notes this time. I thought this was really funny. In the beginning of the books, he'll outline the characters and like say what they are known for and like what's their relation to like the main characters. And he described Julia Abelona as Cassius's estranged mother and Darrow's enemy, Primus of House Bologna remnant, a gold. And I was like, damn, that was going to be really close to this. I was like, damn, like Darrow's enemy, and then of House Bologna remnant, because she's like basically all that's left. It's like her and Cassius, that's it, because Darrow killed everybody else. Okay, I started to be in book 5, like Darrow is like fully delusional, and he was like, a life of war is catching up with me. She doesn't know the weight I carry. And I was like, oh brother. I don't know why I have my glasses on, because they are not like blue light filtering, but I like the aesthetic of them on while I'm reading, so I think I'm gonna keep them. So I was saying that Darrow is delusional, bro, and just like cope, dude. And this was the first time that I was like clocking him using Bedlam in this book. And so I clocked the second time it would happen. Little did I know what I had ahead of me. He went on to say it like over 12 times in this book. And I was like, let's chill out a little bit. Sometimes it was like paragraph, back to back. And I was like, back to back paragraphs. And I was like, oh my God, you're just using it loose like that. Does a word lose value if you like use it too much? What about a person? Think on that one. All right. So at this point, it was obvious to us as the reader that Darrow was like fully psychosis. Like, this dude's tripping. And he describes here that like he's bellowing to his men and says, my men pick up the call and we push through the shattered remains of the division to leave it thrashing in the mud. More landfalls lie ahead, more enemy to kill, more. A laughing zeal fills me. I'm sorry. You're like, fuck yes, let's like get to killing, bro. Like, no wonder he feels like a monster. But it's also what like makes him so good. So like effective as a warlord. And so there we have the moral dilemma of the story. I've spelled it out for you right now. Live here on Gab with Sab, reporting years after this has been published, certainly. I don't know when this came out, but it's nothing new. But my take is original, okay? I have had a unique thought and I just had it. That was my first one, baby's first unique thought. I have a big paragraph highlighted, but my takeaway was that Darrow was using like convenient timing and experience in unusual circumstances to like validate his behavior. I said like that strikes again, that the convenient timing and the experience in unusual circumstances strikes again. And so Bedlam number 3, not 8 pages later, Bedlam number 4. Okay, I have another fun word. It says, in fact, I found his intelligence entirely too much like that of a shark, restless and indefatigably predatory. Indefatigably is crazy. Hey Siri, what does indefatigably mean?
Indefatigably means in an extremely persistent and untiring manner. It signifies an extraordinary capacity for enduring effort without exhaustion.
Thanks, girl. Indefatigably. And so I said, what did you call me? There is a rule I remember learning that is avoid alliteration, but I think alliteration is fun as fuck and it's really cool. And an example of this is the phrase irascible idiocy. And I miss that woman despite her irascible idiocy. I don't even know what irascible is, but I feel like I get the vibe. I feel like those were 2 well-paired words. Okay, this is where I started to note any vocab that I thought was interesting that I had not heard before. And so I think I was imagining that I would look up the definitions here live on the podcast. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to do it. Because later in the, I don't know if it must be in like book 6 or maybe at some point here, I start to like write down what the definition is in the note, which is like an exercise in practicing like memory recall. Cause I'm always training. Okay. I'm always training, always juicing the mind palace. Got to grease the wheels. Something I'll say is when I'm asking Miss Thang to like define something for me, it is pausing the fans on my laptop. And so I thought it meant that it stopped recording, but I don't think that it did. I think that it didn't interrupt the recording at all, but it just like stopped the fans so that you could hear. Because after it started answering, it started playing the fans again. But I think it just muted them so it could hear me. And I'm like, what a nice touch. What a nice touch. I feel like I have a lot of experiences like that on Mac OS. And that's why I'm a kind of a loyal user now. Like, it's kind of a delightful experience for the most part. Like, Windows kind of could never. And maybe that's not true. I think that Windows could. I think that definitely Windows could, and I think Windows is actively choosing not to. And that's what unsettles me. Is it's not for lack of trying, you know what I mean? But it's not for lack of money either. Like, hire some more fucking people. Stop laying people off. Are you serious? Get a fucking clue. Make a decent operating system. I don't know. I have not used Windows 11 and onward, so like maybe it's good now. I really doubt that it is. So the Obsidian culture is like famously matriarchal, and there is a line here where she's talking about what her male mate thinks, and she says, but he is just a man. Men are impulsive and blinded by the snake between their legs. And I said, speak on it. Like, That is so silly. And if they were saying that about women, I would obviously feel unfavorably about that because there's a power dynamic at play, okay? But this is punching up. And so punching up is always allowed in my book. And I might stand on that. I let me know if there's an exception to that in the comments below. Thank you. Someone was describing how someone said they have like an affinity for what they say are whores, and he says it is no lie, they are such delight for my spirit. And I was like, delight for my spirit is crazy. Ooh, I noticed a pattern with Darrow where he's always explaining why someone is like his closest confidant right before they like betray him, and whether that betrayal is like real. I have Bedlam 5-6. It's the new 6-7 5-6 because I thought it was the fifth or the sixth occurrence. And then what is it? 29 pages later. Okay, that's like a significant number of pages, I guess. But there was another Bedlam, and I said, be serious. Be so serious. I noted that the word atavistic is one that I recognized from probably some other book that I read recently, which is either the ACOTAR series or a Brandon Sanderson book. And so atavistic is like, I don't know. Hey Siri, what does atavistic mean?
Atavistic means relating to or characterized by reversion to something ancient or ancestral.
See, I did not remember that. There's a line, even though a mentally disenfranchised elephant could fly this tub. And I said, that is crazy. Like, literally. And I wrote Litchly, literally. One of my notes is capitalism. It looks like I said that in reference to Hyperion, which is the capital on the moon, on Luna the moon of Earth. Bedlam 8 or something. I have been noting vocab like in spades at this point, and now I've started to put the definition. And then there's this line, he leans back and rests his hands on his tummy. And I said, after all this vocab, he pulls out tummy from Darrow? I was like, Darrow does not strike me as a tummy guy. I said tummy to my friend Cotter, and he was like, whoa, what the fuck? Why would you say tummy? He was like, full stop, why did you use that word? And I didn't think it was that controversial at the time, but now that had me thinking. I was like, is it not culturally appropriate to use the word tummy? We don't like that one. And so anyway, I use stomach now. Okay, this was when Lysander was talking about Gilstrates, Gillerastes, Gliristates. Don't know how to pronounce that one. We'll say glirists. Glirissades, Glazisades, Glizisades. Lysander says, you were the one who told me a great artist can never be fully understood. I reply, even you must suffer the tedium of a medium. The tedium of a medium. And I said, love. I love that sense. And sometimes I feel like my art is like that. Like I feel like my podcast, as I was saying, is like the closest I can get to expressing it. And maybe one day I'll learn to channel that into a different media, like a different medium, if you will. Like, I don't know, like for painting, for example. I don't think it's going to be painting, but into like the rubber stamp making or something, like making my own designs. And so we'll see. Feeling ambitious. I think word of the year is ambition. It's winner. Watch last week's episode if you want to learn more about that, about a winner mentality. We're winning. Guys, we're super winning this year. Super winning. Oh my God. The scene of Victra's birth. Okay, so the story, the tale of Victra's birth and how Lyria was like, oh my God, I got to cut my sister's umbilical cord. Like, that was an honor for me. And Victra being like, nobody's even going to be in the room besides me and the person who put this in me. Like, this is not a communal thing. I'm going to deliver my baby, and no one's going to deliver that shit for me. If anyone, it's going to be my husband or my like man, my baby daddy per se. And so they were having this conflict of independence versus community, and both being seen as virtuous in their own right. And that shit changed me a little bit. It made me really think differently about pregnancy, because I think that I had been leaning more toward the attitude of like an independent pregnancy, and it's like completely shifted me to be like, dude, imagine this being a communal activity. Like, holy shit, that must be so, I don't know, so magical, dare I say. Harley's back on the screen. Do you have any words for the people this time? Tell them. So anyway, I highlighted that like entire passage about her delivery. Okay, I have a moral posture from Lysander. He says, he has little appetite for banter. He knows the dangers of the path I have chosen to walk, and he doubts me because the old do not remember the necessities of youth. They see only the years on our horizon to which they think we are entitled, but we are entitled only to the moment, and owe nothing to the future except that we follow our convictions. I am finally following mine. The desert taught me that the only path is forward. And this is in reference to Romulus running in the desert into the like tomb and him falling short. And he's trying to use that to say that he needs to follow his convictions. And I said, okay, Lycee, little sassy boy, thinks he's wise again. And shit, maybe he is. And ultimately, I don't think so. In the end, I think that he chose to be what he was, and it's crazy. And I think Cassius was so wronged by him. Like, and Cassius was described to like kind of never have expected anything of him. But I think that sweet ass man, like, I don't know, he was an imperfect mentor, it seems, and so maybe he doesn't need to like, you know, lick his boots, but like suck his dick. But maybe he doesn't need to like be up his ass. But it's like, how did you not like learn anything about virtues? Like, that is somebody who like, I don't know, like believed in good. And I feel like this is similar to what Brittany Broski said, and she may have related him to Harry Styles, and if not, I'm making that jump, because Brittany Broski has described Harry Styles as this kind of like incredibly positive force that like looks to the world with optimism, and how she just like thinks that's so admirable. And I was like, that's really interesting. I feel that people, and okay, bear with me here, I'm just recalling the facts, but people say that about me. I'm just the messenger, but people say that about me. And so if I believe them, which I am trying to, generally speaking, I'm trying to trust my friends. I'm like, damn girl, you'd love me, we'd be homies. Like, I think that we would be great friends. So I have a parasocial relationship with you. You know nothing about me. I know nothing about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel that the podcast is quite intimate. Like I said, I feel like this is as close as we get to human interaction, but we're not interacting as humans. Not yet. Because we're not like, I think that what would bring us over the edge would be to like correspond digitally or like via video call, which would still like not be all the way there, but I think it would be enough for me to be like, oh, I know them. Because there's some people that I know just over video, and like, I don't know, I feel like I know them well enough, like, but now I don't really see them all that often. So like, well, I don't know, how well do I know them at present? Like, I don't know what I don't know. I'll be right back before we get into the last book. I need water. The most notes, 69. I have 71 highlights, and 69 notes, and so I think that is like all of the notes go with highlights, and so there's only 2 highlights without notes. I had a lot to say. I started being like, I'm gonna make a video where I talk about these, so I'm gonna write this shit down. Oh my god. Against triumph and tribulation, dude, we make it back. My triumphs were apples and my tribulations were peanut butter, and apple slices, that is. And this needs to get a skosh, ma'am. All right, everybody, lock in. Last book. Okay, we have a line of, your life is in your hands, don't drop it. The Green Architect does not choose to drop it. Oh my gosh, they used the word facsimile in here, which was used in the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to when one of Mary's church members described her as the facsimile of God. And in those days, you better believe I was anti-Mary. Now I'm like more Mary neutral, but I remember it's weird. I've seen some weird behavior. I've seen some here and there. I marked the vocab loquacious as meaning talkative. And wouldn't that just be a lovely name? Loquacious. That'd be a good drag name. And have like your personality be like a comedy queen or something. I don't know. At this point, I was noting vocab left, right, and center, dude. He was using all types of words in this one, I feel. Like prevaricate, loquacious, ascetic. Not aesthetic, but ascetic, which is to exercise self-discipline or abstain from indulgence. Facsimile, laconically, besotted, bellicose, perdition, detritus. Like I've said, be serious. I was never going to know that word. She was licking the remnants of my egg salad bowl, bro. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm so goddamn beautiful and so goddamn gorgeous. I made an explicit note that I don't trust Ajax. I was like, that guy is up to no good. Ajax is Lysander's, who he grew up with, and who, when he rejoined, he was like at the head of Atalantia's like combat group or whatever, her army. Some are calling it that. And he is like he had been groomed by her, and she had groomed him, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't trust Ajax. I was like, oh no, that's so sad. And then I was like, also don't trust him as far as they can throw him, you know what I'm saying? Timorous, having nervousness. I keep writing like Lysander Cope, anti-rebellion ass dude. We've got a highlight that says, I've kept the beard. For some reason, it helps me to feel like I'm on a mission. And I just said LMAO. Oh my God. So I guess this is when Lysander really like was firm in being radically for the society, was when he was talking to Atlas, and Atlas was like, I'm the tool that like the universe needs me to be in order to maintain peace or to like have some semblance of structure. Like it has to be this way, and someone has to do it, and so it's gonna be I can do it, and I'm gonna do it. And so Lysander sees it as his like responsibility to do the hard thing that he like grew up thinking that his grandma did, right? Like that she was doing the hard thing, and other people didn't get it. They didn't get the kind of like pressure of it or the complexities and the nuance of it. Oh my gosh, I highlighted something that Cassius said, and I said charming as fuck, goddamn. He said, good, now get thee hence, foul ragamuffin. I hear the deep is gloomy and dour as a Mooney's sonnet. You won't want to miss it. He hands me a tiny flask. I take it and give a little shake, feeling its contents slosh around. Had to make sure it was good enough for your discerning palate, Cassius says. I thank him and head down the ramp to join the others. I stop in the rain and jog back to him. He smiles, a little confused. I say in a rush, what you did on Io, why you did it. It's just... I look down feeling stupid, knowing he doesn't need compliments from me. I don't know, I just think you're a good man and you have a huge heart, and I don't think people say that enough. Just wanted you to know that I see it, Bologna. For once, he doesn't have anything ironic to say. His eyes glitter and he bends, looks into my eyes, and kisses me on the cheek. I'm filled with an urge to protect him and his too fragile heart. Go on now, before I try to keep you, he says. And so, what does that say about me that there is like, I don't know what their age difference is, and it could be like a decade, and that Cassius is her senior. I don't remember. And so this passage gives me the impression that there is this kind of like mentor-mentee relationship happening, but I just think it's charming. I just think it's nice. I think it's just like so sweet to like, I don't know, interact with women in that way, whatever. I don't know. Let me yearn. Oh my gosh, I highlighted Darrow's arc where he finally comes around and he's like, I remember the purity of that feeling. It was clean. To love and be loved, to guide and be guided. This is dirty, this life I lead instead. I am dirty, as Dancer promised. Severo said he had to keep me shiny. That was his job. It's time to tell them I haven't done mine. It's the only chance to complete my mission, and my mission is not to get ships, not to slay Fa, not to even save Mars. It is to make sure that the light does not go out. And I said, my boy, my boy. He goes on later to say, on the next page, my mistake was in thinking I was alone, that if I fell, if I lost, there'd be no one left to fight. I know that is not true because Ares fell and look at all of you. And I said, Darrow Trure. And I spelled that Sauer Trure. Trure. Yeah. Sartre. Okay, here is maybe not like Cassius slander, but like Cassius picture painting that he talks about him and Diomedes, and Cassius and Darrow and Diomedes in the same room. And he's like, we might be the best 3 Razor Masters to share a room in the last 60 years. And it's a prison. And it's saying like, what a waste of talent. And not one of us was taken in a straight fight. And I'm like, he's still caught up in the arbitrary abilities they studied as golds and the framework that they honor for I don't know, like honor and virtue. And I said maybe it's not so arbitrary because it's like a form of self-protection that is sword fighting. But then I was like, what isn't self-protection? Like everything is self-protection. So like what makes this so special? Vocab gravitas. And I was interested to see that meant seriousness and not like cockiness or arrogance. I think I've confused gravitas with like the courage, but it's with the seriousness, the gravitas, the seriousness that we take something with. I was commenting on the justification that whatever his face was saying. He was like, these are the names hailed today, butchers of millions. Human history is proof of one thing: violence builds empires. Violence is worshipped, respected, heeded. Why are we monsters for embracing this truth? Why am I a villain? Every great people has done it. And I said, and all have fallen, so do something different. Like, if anything, that was the common denominator of why they didn't succeed. Like, you can reframe it in that way. And so I feel like we can extend this to politics in the present day by saying, like, this DEI stuff doesn't work well. Ignoring it has ensured that it will not work if you look at it like that. And so just look at it the other way. Doesn't it make more sense that way? I made a note that they like described that they felt like they were watching a Violet drama. And I said, it's crazy that they breed artists. Like, we haven't heard the Republic try to democratize art. And I don't know what I meant by that. So let me know in the comments if you know what I meant by that. Oh my God. And then there was a line at the end of the book where, right, I'm at the end. I'm near the end. But it's Bedlam, my old friend. And I'm like, so you mentioned the word Bedlam like a dozen times just to have this one line that's just so funny. I feel like this book, in retrospect, like made me see war a little differently. Not in a way that says like, yeah, let's do it. It's still like, all right, let's settle down. Like, if I have to believe that there is a peace and a balance that can be found. Like, I have to believe that. I will not stand for this idea that like war is inevitable just because we haven't like found a way yet. And for all we know, there were other like civilizations that did live in peace. Like, extinction can happen for so many reasons. And so like we just don't have record of those civilizations. Maybe because they were like not fucking bothering the other ones, and so there was like not much sharing, and they were independent. Who's to say? Who's to say? So anyway, this was only fun if you have read Red Rising. If you had, and isn't that fun? This is only fun if you have read the book Red Rising, or the series Red Rising rather. I think that we should accept alliteration. We should maybe attain alliteration. We should acquire alliteration. There we go. That'll do it for the episode. I don't have another content shout out identified, but let me think of one real quick. I will say Caleb Heron, because I have mentioned him on the other episodes, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like a well accepted fact in my lore and my universe that he's good and I love him. But I'm a new fan. I'm like a really new fan. And so I'm feeling really good about it. Like, the more that I see stuff from him, I'm like, yeah. Like, I feel firm and I feel fervent in this admiration. And I think it's weird that I feel like I have to, like, you know, morally agree with all of the people I admire. Like, that I'm holding myself to that standard. Because I don't think I would really hold other people to that standard. Like there's plenty of, and I guess this contradicts what I was saying about religion last week, which is that, or excuse me, earlier today, that without religion, oh my god, you guys, I dug too deep. I gotta back up. This is to say that there can be good taken from stuff like even like religion. And so if someone values the good parts of it, like who am I to say like that's not virtuous? But last week I did go ahead and say that was not virtuous. So you know who is to say, because it's not me. I can't make up my damn mind. But so I'm a late adopter to Caleb Heron, and I just feel that he's really good. I just really enjoy what he makes. Like he just, his flavor of funny is my flavor of funny, and clearly many other people's flavor of funny. Like, I'm not trying to be like me and Caleb Heron uniquely get each other. Like, I don't think that's true. But hey, maybe it is. For all I know. Like, again, who is to say? Genuinely, we won't know until we meet in person. It feels weird to manifest that. I'm like, I'm not gonna like hunt you down. Like, I'm gonna leave that one up to the universe, if you know what I mean. And I'm not gonna like put myself in proximity to you to like run into you. Like, maybe it goes without saying that I'm not gonna be crazy about it. That I'm not gonna be like stalking-y about it. Whatever. Hey, it's editing me to say thank you so much for watching. Let me know how the lighting was personally for you. I'm wondering if that gave you good energy or bad energy. It's important. And lastly, please like, comment, subscribe, you know, the whole gamut. And I'll see you next time. Bye.